Hello everyone, how are all of you doing? As usual, hoping and assuming that audio is working correctly, but I usually pay attention to chat for that. Speaking of which, hello Board Collect, how are you doing today? So, I don't know where you all live, but it is hot right now in Cleveland, Ohio. It has been, the past 2 or 3 days have been excessively hot. Excessively? Exceedingly? I'm not entirely sure, but the past few days have been exceedingly hot. Exceedingly sounds better. Exceedingly hot, and I am dealing with that in this basement right here, because the basement, actually I should take the vent off. I wonder if the AC is even set, because it hasn't been blowing right now, and it's very separate conversations for another day. But if you see a nice sheen of sweat on my forehead, it's hot in here. Anyways, past that, my chat is I find my tablet likes to start programs after, not my tablet, my computer, my laptop. It turns into a tablet, so I said that. It likes to start programs after I've turned it on. So when I turn it on, I'm like, everything's all good to go, and then about 4 minutes later, it's like Discord's automatically starting up, and so I get little pop-ups, which is not the worst right now. It is less fun when I'm trying to use my tablet for an actual video, and I get those little reminders that things aren't properly settled. Also, I'm seeing the battery's not great. I may have to plug it in, but we'll deal with that. Hello, James. Hello, Brian. Hello, Strapme. How are all of you doing? For me, so this week has been overall a good week. I played Primal this week, which I'll talk about a bit more in my week in review. I will have review content at some point, but I finally got to table with Primal, which was nice. Degenesis is interesting. I like Degenesis. I don't know if I'm in love with it yet, but I enjoy it. I think the interesting thing about Degenesis is it almost seems like it's designed to be a sequence of missions. Well, it is designed to be a sequence of missions, but Degenesis, it's not clear to me that there's a clear win or loss in the beginning. I'm going through some of the games, so we'll see. I'm going to probably be diving into Game 2 today. The arc of the campaign, stop this. The arc of the campaign seems to be, at least the campaign we have in the prototype, is like a 3 to 4 mission arc. I'm enjoying it, not quite in love with it yet, but that's going to be the Genesis. Outside of that, I played Neverrift recently, Neverrift trading card game. That is it's supposed to be like an upcoming trading card game. I like what it's doing, but like with most trading card games, not enough to let myself get sucked into the giant rules that are there. Hello from Arizona, talking more about the heat. Yes, it is fair. Your heat's probably worse. But then again, I don't want to live in Arizona. Like, the problem is, I guess I choose to live in Cleveland, and the weather here is crazy. It's hot, it's cold, it's hot, it's cold, it's back and forth, it's a little intense. Computer programs, stop popping up. I need to go to this tablet and turn off, actually I should do this. I should go to this tablet and turn off all my automatic startup programs, because they are almost always annoying, because this is kind of my occasional use laptop as opposed to my main one. So I should turn all those off. But that's a separate conversation for another day. Nick Vineckers, the 3rd week in a row, watching you all working on my kitchen, but should be done in a few hours when I receive the last things in the mail. Are you, redoing your whole kitchen? What are you doing, Nick? Let us know. Tell us more in the chat. Stacy, hello. Mike, good morning. Genesis looks cool. Kind of like a game that could have fairly easily had a solo mode, and I'm kind of shocked it doesn't. Could you do a solo mode in Genesis? So the tricky part is, if you're I would assume a solo mode, and it's asymmetric, but I would assume a solo mode would be running the threats, but it is a bit tricky because there's hidden information in the threats. So there's a lot of hidden information, which makes it a little trickier to do. I'm sure it's doable. Solo modes can get very creative very quickly, and again, given the size of this solo community, I agree that I'm surprised they're not putting attention into that. But yeah, it's not a game I would personally play solo. Dear Lord, the pop-ups. Okay, I don't know what's happening in this computer. Let's go startup programs. Let's type this in over here. I really need to turn these off at some point, and hopefully if I remember to do this, but I don't know if I'm going to do it right now. Startup apps. Okay, we're going to turn off everything that's a startup app. Well, not everything, but a lot of stuff. But we'll do that later. I'm just going to pop it up as a reminder to myself. Hextra, hello. Michael, is there a plan for a review How to Save a World? So torn between Ironwood and for my back game of the month. This is a tough one. So, let's go. So, Michael, let's go into this. And I've covered this at times, but it's just inherently hard. The worst part about doing, so basically, we started doing paid content, sponsored content on the channel, primarily around a year ago. Around a year ago is when we first started dabbling in it. Maybe a little earlier, maybe like 14 months ago. And the main reason to do it was effectively at the time I had hired Devin and Meg, and I was hoping that the natural process of growing the team, I don't know, I was hoping that things would take care of themselves on their own, which was probably a foolish hope. But I realized very quickly I couldn't actually afford to pay my friends without an additional revenue stream. And so we started doing sponsored content so that I would have the additional revenue stream to pay my friends. It worked out well in the long run. In the short run, I wasn't able to pay Devin enough, and he needed another opportunity, which is why he's working for Lucky Duck. In the longer run, it's worked very well, being able to keep Meg on the team and grow it from a part-time job, because for both of them it started as a part-time opportunity into a full-time opportunity. So the reason for sponsored content is effectively so that I can have a team as opposed to just being myself. That's the main motivation or goal of it. I mean, the money's great, but that's a whole different complicated. Well, the money's great. The money goes towards paying my team. But the tricky part about sponsored content, the part that I like the least, is so I generally don't do preview content. The only exception was actually this week for the first time ever I did a preview. I did not feel comfortable about it, but the short version is we filmed the Genesis and it was due the next day, the preview. Like the preview was due the next day, and unfortunately Meg wasn't able to do it, and I had to step in or just be late for the person for Simon, and that's. I'm not happy that I did the preview. I'm not. But sometimes things happen, and honestly, in the amount of time that it's gone on, I'm okay with the fact that it's only happened once. But I don't do the preview content because I like to keep that clear distinction of the previews are done by, well, Meg, and the reviews, when you have an actual opinion, are done by me. I do appear in gameplay content because that's not opinionated content, so I don't mind that blurring of the lines as much. The part that I like the least about the fact that we do sponsored content is it puts me in weird spaces when you're talking about things like How to Save a World. I would love to review How to Save a World. There's actually a weird conflict of interest to a situation, but like, not conflict of interest, but a weird perverse incentive for the publishers, I guess. I like How to Save a World. I think it's a great game. I'd happily review it. The tricky part is they already paid for preview content, and so I don't like doing reviews and previews at the same time. I don't. I might be diving into an additional gameplay. I might be doing it not sponsored, but like, I kind of like the game and want to promote it, so I want to do another gameplay around it, but I don't want to do a preview and a review in the same window. I don't mind having the channel do a preview now, and then I'll do a review later. I really don't want to have a preview and a review going up in the same rough window time frame, because it just feels like it muddies the waters, and because of that, I just don't want to do it, even though it's a weird thing, because it means that sometimes I'm in a weird situation where I want to hold back an opinion because of optics, as opposed to, I actually have a full video coming up on that, but sometimes I need to hold back an opinion because of optics, which feels weird, because I just like giving my opinion. But I have to recognize that some of you watch me dedicatedly and are here all the time and trust my opinion, and others are tuning in for a single video. And the people who are tuning in for a video here and a video there, optics matter. The way things look matters. This is like a whole thing that happened with the whole CMON, GameFound, and God of War campaign. I got a lot of pushback from people because the optics looked like I was trying to support a GameFound campaign. And I can show I can go through the reasons and how it's different. In fact, I have a full video coming up on the subject, but it's just a weird, I don't like how preview work, I don't like how sponsored content muddies the waters. I don't. But I have to weigh that up against the fact that if I don't want to be a solo person in front of the camera forever, then I need that flexibility. So, hashtag first world problems. Anyways, hello, Michael Joseph. Is there a plan for review? So no plan to review How to Save a World. I definitely enjoy it. Enjoying it is always a different conversation than would I actively go out and add it to my collection. I think I would. Like, I really enjoy it. The tricky part is I have so many games that I can't always put the time to get into that I'm always more critical about what I spend my money on. But if I were going out, I think I need to play it a bit more. I've played it like 3 times now. I think I need to play it a bit more, but I do definitely enjoy it. I do wonder with a lot of games about longevity because I go through so many games. Okay, is there a plan to review? Joey, hello. Swabme, we're driving our week-long vacation spot. So excited not to work and get some awesome family time. Enjoy it. Stacy, sounds great. Swabme, Danny's Reef Tank. Hello, first time joining. Love the channel. Thank you for joining. Is everything okay on this? Interesting. 1 second. My chat, so here's the problem I got. My chat over there is updated, and over here it's not. Which means I need to shut down this chat and pop it back up again and see what's going on, because I'm realizing, let's go here, pop out chat, and try this again. Because I can see there's additional comments, but I'm stuck on like 7 comments ago. I might have to read from over there while this loads. No, we're good. Okay, hello, welcome. Brian, Alex, what about Ironwood kept it from getting a perfect 5? You seem extremely high in it, and your review didn't seem to have any real criticisms. Great question, Brian. For me, so a 5 is a very, like, I love this game, period, bar none. I want to play it all the time. And I think for Ironwood, after my first play, if I was grading Ironwood after play 1, it would be a perfect 5. That's how high I was on it after play 1. But by the time I got like 4 or 5 plays in, I was like, I do really like it, but it's not holding that same high. And I will grant, these are hard things to distinguish, and I always feel bad. Like, I feel bad ever pulling back points because something doesn't have a specific criticism. I think it's just my sheer desire to table it or play it. DEI, I've played that game 10 plus times. I would love to dive into it in a heartbeat. Expeditions would love to dive into it. If you suggested those games, I think almost that's the certain distinction. If you suggest my 5s to me, any of my 5s, I might have a visitor. Coming. If you suggest any of my 5s to me, I want to dive into them without pausing for a second. If you suggested Ironwood to me, I think there's times I'd be like, yes, let's play it. And I think there's times where I'd be like, maybe I'm not in the mood. So it's really high. Like a 4.5 is still really, really high, but it's not necessarily a perfect 5. But you can come if you want. You're being great. You're being very quiet, and I love that, and I appreciate that. No, don't. What are you doing?
I need these guys.
Oh, you can take those guys. I just don't want you pressing any buttons. I have a child homesick today. You want to say hi to everyone?
Hi.
No, you want to come on camera and say hi? Come here.
Hi.
No, over here, over here. Say hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
There we go. Okay, cool. You can go now if you want. Anyways, so that's kind of the answer there. I'm hesitant to give something a 5 unless I think I am always that excited for it. Like, a 5 to me is, like, I do have, like, I mean, this year I've had no 5s. I thought Iron was going to be the first one. I've had no 5 out of 5s this year. But, like, I really need to feel a level of certainty around it. And with Ironwood, I paused. And a pause is enough for me to give it a 4.5 out of 5, which is what it is. I try to be conservative. I try to, again, it doesn't necessarily always, it's a weird situation with board games because when it comes to something like a 5 is almost based on excitement, so I try to be conservative around 5s. Whereas when it comes to like a 3 or a 3.5, which is my most common score, is going below a 3 doesn't happen that often. But that's because most games are pretty decent, and once you go to the ones that really aren't, the question is, did I even play it enough at that point, or did I just move on from it? And that's the hard part. Around the Stump Games, are you surprised by how modest How to Save a World's Week 1 success is? That's hard to say. The crowdfunding space has changed in general. And Burnt Island Games, I think they've had some interesting, like, they've had an interesting run, Burnt Island Games. They've had some popular campaigns, both in their kids' table board game line, and then they've had some campaigns that just didn't have that same level of recognition. I think every time a Burnt Island Games game launches, I am uncertain where it's going to go. Very uncertain. I don't think I was confident How to Save a World would blow it out of the park. I don't think I was. Just based on the follower numbers and how the campaign was going, it didn't seem like it had the hype. And I don't know what gets you that hype, because I think How to Save a World is great. But for whatever reason, maybe it's this theme, maybe the theme's different, maybe it's harder to latch onto. Like games like Fall of the Mountain King or Into the Hall of the Mountain King, whatever it is, those had a larger degree of success. The series, what's it called? Is it Expeditions? No. What's the whole series? Endeavor, that's what it is. You getting more guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Endeavor in general, like, those were really popular. But I think KTBG, I'm not always as confident as far as how they're going to do. Not KTBG, Burnt Island Games. Mike, I've noticed GrimCoven has meandered out to some channels. Any coverage planned for that? Ooh, yes, indeed. I do have coverage planned for GrimCoven. And the only question I need to ask myself is if I'm doing an unboxing too. When would I do the unboxing? I could film an unboxing tomorrow. I should have filmed it today, but I need to time it around my coffee. I don't need to time it around my coffee. Maybe I'll just film it today and skip the coffee. GrimCoven. Anyways, so GrimCoven, I might do an unboxing. I need to check that out. But past that, I do plan on covering it. I think it's a June 4th Kickstarter, if I'm not mistaken. GameFound. June 4th GameFound campaign, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I do plan on covering it. Hopefully my coverage will be on time. They really didn't give us a lot of time between when the copies went out towards when the coverage is expected. So, yay. And Awakened Realms rulebooks, as much like their games, their rulebooks are usually not fun. Their prototype rulebooks are even less fun. Stalker, not fun. Nemesis Retaliation, not fun. Awakened Realms, I mean, their rulebooks are an issue. And you're getting them in the final version. Prototypes are worse. Jeremy, what Kickstarters are you looking forward to getting? I'm waiting on Creature Caravan, Kavango, and River Valley Glassworks. Great question, Jeremy. This past week, I filmed the top 10 crowdfunding campaigns I'm most anticipating. One of the 3 you're mentioning was on that list. I'll say that. But yeah, that's going to be the video. I will have 10 campaigns that I am really looking forward to, because I haven't done one of those anticipation videos in a while. Hextra, heavy couple months for crowdfunding. Do smaller devs benefit more from busy periods due to visibility around bigger games, or from less busy times where they don't have to share the spotlight? So the usual answer I give people, and I usually try to disclaim that I don't have enough data to support this. I don't have hard data. I have anecdotal data, I have specific incidences, but in general, the usual advice I give people is, especially if you're a crowdfunding creator looking when to launch, I usually say, trying to time your campaign around 1 or 2 larger campaigns, I think gives you extra visibility. There's more people on the platform. It's driving extra people to where Kickstarter is. They see your project. They get into that. So I think it does help to have 1 or 2 large projects. Whereas if you have a swarm of large projects, people do have limited budgets, and that means it hurts. So even though you have extra visibility, you have no extra leeway for that smaller indie project. So in general, for smaller creators, or for any creators for that matter, I say don't be afraid of 1 or 2 large projects. Do be afraid of 3 to 5 or more, whatever. 3 to anything. 3 plus large projects. Chrissy Stern, have you played Ezra Nehemiah? Played last night, thought it was great. I have not, but I would like to. Jacob Justice, have you played the expansion for Furnace? If yes, what are your thoughts? Jacob, fun fact, it almost got tabled on, I want to say last Wednesday, maybe last Tuesday. One of those 2 days. It was at our game night. It was ready. It was prepped. I was in the middle of going through the rulebooks, and we played a different game instead. But it almost got tabled this week. Does that count as playing? I don't think it does. Michael Joseph, don't fret too much about your paid content. Those of them who follow for years know you've always given us honest input. You have never steered me wrong. Michael, I appreciate it. Genuinely, I really do. The tricky part is I have to remember, I switched to live chat. The tricky part is I have to remember that the people who have been watching me for years is not the only audience I have. I have to, and again, I go into this, like, I have a genuine apology video coming out. Like, it's a weird, like, not like a serious I'm sitting on the couch. It's like a weird apology video. It's half an apology, half an explanation. But I do think that I have had a blind spot. I do think I've had a blind spot for a while now over the consistent way I have been in the space. Because I do think I've been consistent. I do think I could stand by any situation or question asked. I'm happy with how my behavior is overall. But I think I've had a blind spot to the fact that that consistency or that certainty in myself doesn't account for the fact that not everyone who watches my content watches every video. Not everyone who watches my content has been watching me for years. Like, think about it practically speaking, because, like, you have to remember the new viewer. If someone is coming in, and I have to remember, not you, like, I forgot. I need to remember the new viewer. If someone came in, and all they know, like, they're watching me for the first time, they know I'm CMO of GameFound, they see God of War, they see people complaining about the gameplay, and they see BoardGameCo putting out 3 videos talking about the campaign. It does look like I'm trying to favor a GameFound campaign, or I'm trying to favor Simon. It does look like that. And I respect that. Like, well, now, with, like, introspection and whatnot, like, I kind of acknowledge that. And I've always dug my feet in, being like, please, I'm consistent for who knows how long. I put out videos defending Command 4 years ago. I have consistently put out multiple videos across any, and not every Simon campaign, but the Simon campaigns I like usually get 3 to 4 videos. Simon campaigns I don't like get 1 video. Like, I've been very consistent across the board, and my GameFound influence has had no impact whatsoever on the way my content is presented. But the problem is I'm effectively demanding that the person who sees that conflict and bias and difference, I'm kind of expecting them to have watched everything and been as invested in my channel and my content as I am. So that's not a fair expectation. The reality is that I love that I have a dedicated group of people who have been around for a long time, who have seen the way I approach things, and I still have to remember that everything I put out has to still work for every viewer, new and old alike. And I don't know how that translates into everything, because I don't want to hold back opinions, but sometimes I have to for perception's sake. And so it's a weird, it's messy. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your words. It is messy. What's my shirt today? Oh, this shirt. I like this shirt. They have, T-Turtle has this shirt. Same thing on sale for $12 when they have their sales, or you can buy it at the convention for $30. Why would I do that? Especially when I have so many shirts that I like. The reason I have this one is because I walked into PAX East 2 years ago, and I was wearing a hoodie because it was freezing outside, but I got into the hall and it was boiling, and I had nothing to wear that was, like, appropriate. I was just like, I was schmaltzing, to those who want the Yiddish term. I was schmaltzing. And so I bought the shirt, which I like, and I have 2 versions of the shirt. I have this version and the other version. The other version has a stool, I believe. He's jumping off of a stool. Same concept, same words, but anyways. Board Collect, a wild Raffi appears. Yes. Brian, Alex, are you going to tip Jamie to get an advanced copy of Expeditions Gears of Corruption? Are you looking forward to more expeditions? I already have. I'm pausing because I'm like, am I allowed to say things? So I think I'm allowed to say things. I've already had an advanced copy of Gears of whatever. I've already had an advanced copy of the expansion. I've played it like months ago, and I have a review coming up. The pausing was, I was definitely not allowed to say something while it wasn't yet announced. It has been announced now, so I assume I'm allowed to say that I've had an early copy. I don't think it matters, but I will have coverage of the expansion going up. I don't know when the timeline for opinions is, so I will not say anything about my opinion right now. I'll just say I have coverage of the game going up. Hello, Rafiki. Rafiki's back. Chrissy Stern, didn't skip the coffee. Didn't skip what coffee? I don't know what that was about. Duke, Alex, I'm curious to you back to Daenerys Ultimate. Your visit and adventures convinced me it'll be a game for me and can't wait. Hope the little one gets well soon. Cheers from across the Atlantic. Thank you, Duke. The little one is already mostly better, but the problem is with fevers, we keep them home from school, so they don't go to school, even though I actually have 2 of them at home right now. Both with a fever, both seemingly better based on their behavior, and both still home because that's how contagion works. Past that, as far as the back to Daenerys Ultimate, yes, I did. Daenerys is an interesting one because I still love Daenerys. I still think it's great. I definitely think I don't need all the content that I have for it. I think it's overkill. I think it's too much. And keep in mind, I don't always think that. I have 2 full videos. One where I'm like, these are games where I've benefited from all the content, and then another video where I'm like, these are games where I haven't benefited from all the content. And will I learn? I mean, I'm backing less games, so in that sense I'm learning, but I still kind of go all in whenever I can. Sin, well, whenever I'm interested in the game, I usually go all in. If I'm not interested, I don't go all in. So I back less things, but I still go all in. Sindeka, what do you think offers the best gameplay value? Getting all the Clue Left May Die, or getting 1 Kickstarter season with the extras? Oh, that's a good question. My instinct is 1 Kickstarter season with the extras, but I'd have to look at it and break it down. I mean, you could literally just add up the survivors and heroes and scenarios and episodes. You could add it all up and go from there, which I recommend doing. But my instinct from like mentally picturing the content is one full season. Mike Owens, firm agree on Awakening Realms rulebooks. I have Ice and Nemesis Lockdown, and both those games leave a lot to be desired for the rulebooks. Yeah, I like their games. I actually just filmed an Awakening Realms ranking video. I did, although it doesn't cover Grim Coven, which I feel bad about because I had Grim Coven, and I was like, do I push off the video? But I didn't push off the video only because historically I have started to realize that whenever I push off a video because I'm waiting for something, that video can sometimes not be made for like a year and a half, 2 years. So what I've tried to do, and that waiting on things could be a variety of things. It could be waiting on playing the expansion. It could be waiting on playing another game so I could do a list video. It could be, right now I want to do top 10 party games, and I've actively been waiting because I'm like, there's one game I'm waiting for it to show up so I can cover it. Ironically, I'm actually still waiting on that one and not listening to my own advice. But I do find whenever I push off a video, top 10 roller nights. I finally filmed top 10 roller nights. It's going up next week. I was going to do that video 2 years ago. 2 years ago I was going to do that video. But I was like, I just want to play 2 or 3 more that I have in my collection I haven't played yet, and then I'll film the video. 2 years later, I finally am doing the video. So like, I do find that waiting for things can really put a long delay on stuff, so I didn't wait in this case. Or waiting on people. Sometimes it's an issue of waiting